Hey there, and welcome back to Wellness Unfiltered with Dr. Quinnett. I'm Dr. Quinnett Swank, therapist and women's wellness coach, and I am so glad you're here because today we are talking about something that is so important to me, and it's something that I hear from so many women, and it's this. Here's what they say: I'm doing what used to work, but my body's not responding the same way. So maybe this is you. Maybe you used to cut back for a week and feel a difference. Maybe you used to add a few extra workouts and see results. Or maybe you would skip breakfast, do more cardio, eat a little less, and your body would respond. But now things feel different. You're working hard, but you're not seeing the same results. You're eating less, but you don't feel any better. You're doing cardio, but your body is not responding the way that you expect it to. This leaves you feeling tired, frustrated, and maybe even thinking, what the heck is wrong with me? What is going on? So today, I want to offer a totally different way to look at things, okay? What if nothing is wrong with you? What if the old strategy simply doesn't match your current stage of life? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. So here's the deal. After 35, and especially as you move through perimenopause, and let me pause there for a second. I'm saying after 35, but for some women, it could be earlier than 35. Okay. But for me personally, and for a lot of the women that I work with, it's typically 35 and then after. And as you move through perimenopause, your body begins to respond differently to the things that you eat and the way that you move. Hormones start to fluctuate, and those shifts affect how your body builds and maintains muscle, how it uses protein, how it stores fat, and how quickly it recovers. So, hear this, okay? It is not a personal failure when what you are doing and what you have done in the past, it's no longer working. It's not a personal failure. What's happening is your body is changing. And as those changes occur, the old plan doesn't work. So the old plan it was quote unquote simple. It was eat less, do more cardio, push harder, and you're going to hit your goals. And that may have worked for a while, but at some point, your body is going to start asking for something different. And if you keep forcing this old strategy or this old plan onto a body that has changed, you are going to keep hitting a wall. So, there are two really important things that I believe matter for most women in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. And that is protein and strength training. Now, before I get into the why, I want to share something personal. Okay. I have always strength trained. I grew up with a dad who was a Marine who worked out twice a day. So strength training, working out it's in my DNA. Okay. It's what I do. I love it. That part was never an issue for me. But protein, that was a whole different story. I knew it was important, but I was not consistent or intentional about getting protein the way I needed. And for a while, that was okay until it wasn't. And when I hit my mid 30s, the freaking game started to change and the rules started to change. And honestly, I did not want to change with them. But perimenopause had other plans and I had to accept them. And whether or not I wanted to accept this new game and the new rules, I had to. But once I accepted that things were changing, everything started to change for me. So here is what I want you to understand about protein and strength training and why they work together. Your body needs protein to build and maintain muscle, and your body needs strength training to give that muscle a reason to stay. One without the other is only half of the equation, okay? Many women are under eating in protein, especially when they start their day. They start with coffee. I was that chick. I started my day with coffee. Iced Americano. Started it all the time. And then I moved into like a cold brew. Then you might eat a light breakfast or no breakfast, depending on how you want to operate that day. Then you might have a little lunch and you just try to be good all day, right? But by the afternoon, those cravings are loud and they are louder than your goals. And so what happens is we start to think, a lot of women start to think, oh, maybe it's just willpower. I just need to have more willpower. But sometimes the problem is that the body has not been properly fueled. And when we look at strength training, many women are still doing mostly cardio. So you're moving, you're sweating, you're getting your steps in, all of which is great. But if you are not adding resistance training to your body, then there's no reason for your body to hold on to that muscle. And here's the reality: without muscle, your metabolism, your energy, and your body composition, it all suffers. Cardio alone is not going to fix this. What your body needs after 35 and beyond is to be fueled with protein and to be challenged with resistance. Those two things together are what supports your metabolism, your strength, your bones, and how you will feel throughout your day. And I want to talk to women for just a minute who are on GLP-1s or who are considering them. Now, first of all, hear me clearly. There is absolutely no judgment. These medications are a tool, and for so many women, they have genuinely been very, very helpful. But here is something that is not talked about enough. When your appetite is significantly suppressed and you are eating less, you are at risk of losing muscle. You're not just losing fat, you are losing muscle. And protein is what protects your muscle while your body is in a calorie deficit. So these medications, they help with appetite and they will help with weight, but protecting your muscle and your long-term just overall body comp, it requires more than just these medications. So when you're on a GLP-1, protein and strength training, they are not optional. They become the foundation to you being successful and ultimately reaching the goals that you want to reach and ultimately supporting your long-term health. The biggest mistake that I see women make is that when their old plan stops working, they assume that the answer is to be more extreme. Eat less, cut the carbs, do more cardio, be more strict, right? But often the answer is not be more extreme. The answer is actually be more strategic. And being strategic doesn't mean complication, right? I I am a mom and a wife and a business owner. I don't need more complicated things in my life. I need that's going to help me to be consistent. So let's look at this. This being strategic might look like strength training 2 or 3 days a week consistently. And ladies, if it works, okay, you don't have to be in the gym 6, 7 days a week. You can be in the gym strength training 2 or 3 days a week. You're doing it consistently. You're doing some progressive overload. You will hit the results that you want, or you will maintain your results. Being strategic also might look like adding protein to every meal, starting with breakfast. So I still start my day with coffee, but I add protein to my coffee. I do 40 grams of protein in my coffee and I make a protein coffee. And some mornings I might put a little waffle on the side. Some mornings I don't. So it's starting your day with protein. It also might look like walking instead of running your little heart out and feeling depleted at the end. I love running. But there are some days where I say, you know what? I don't need to go for a long run. Maybe I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk or a 45-minute walk or a 20-minute walk. It doesn't always have to be these long, strenuous activities. It's simple, it's strategic, it's not complicated. Another strategy might be building your meals that feel very balanced instead of skipping them. Because what happens is when we skip meals, we get to dinner and we are starving. So that's you cooking dinner. You've been, quote, good all day, right? But then you get to dinner and you're cooking and you're taking little bites here and there. That means that you have not fueled your body properly throughout the day. And that is the difference between creating a short-term plan versus a long-term plan that's gonna support your wellness for for life, right? It's sustainable. We're creating a sustainable wellness strategy. And I want you to, in this moment, I want you to feel really empowered here because the reality is it's not about chasing the old version of you. I don't want you to keep asking, how do I get my 25-year-old body back? That's not the question. What I want you to start asking yourself now is, how do I support the body I have now? Or how do I create a plan that's going to help me in reaching the goals that I have for myself? Okay? It's not about giving up. It's about learning how to show up differently for yourself. These changes in our bodies, they can bring up a lot. They can bring up frustrations and comparisons and this sense of I don't recognize myself. And I don't want to dismiss any of that because it is so valid to feel frustrated. I felt so frustrated when I hit my mid 30s because I was like, what is happening to my body? Why is this happening? I had my kids, I had already had both of my kids by that point and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like I had lost the weight. Why is the weight coming back? I'm working out. I'm quote unquote eating right. So I know how difficult it can feel when you're doing all the same things, but your body is not responding the same way. But here's what I want you to hear, that the way that you show up for yourself and the way that you acknowledge yourself in the season that's your life, that is what is going to help you to build a plan that's ultimately going to work for you now, but long term. The plan that's going to help you to, yes, reach your goals, but then also maintain those goals. So this week, I really want you to try something very low pressure. I want you to try one thing. I want you to pick one meal and just add a quality source of protein to it. That's it. I don't want you to redo your whole entire meal plan. I just want you to pick one meal where you can add protein to it. You don't need a new workout program. You don't need to start hitting the gym. No. Right this week, I just want you to focus on protein. I just want you to start there. So this could be maybe adding eggs at breakfast. Maybe you're adding a Greek yogurt that has 15 grams of protein as a snack. Maybe you're adding chicken to, a salad, or you're adding, I love these turkey pepperonis. Maybe you're adding that to a salad. Just start there. Something that's small, but it's sustainable because long-term change does not start with a dramatic overhaul. We think it does, but it's very hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very hard to maintain that long term when we start with a complete overhaul. Usually, when you start with one small intentional choice that you can repeat consistently over time, that is when you start to see your goals align, and that is when you start to see the shift. And if you are realizing that your old approach is no longer working for you, I would love to support you. This is my area. So I would love to support you. And you can learn more and schedule a consult at my website, which is swankcounseling.com. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with me today and just taking time to listen. And I hope that this resonated with you. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, please take a second to follow along with the show so that you always get the notifications of when a new episode is live. And also, if you could leave a review, it would help more women find this podcast. And that is exactly why I created it. Be sure to also send me a message on Instagram at Swank Wellness and let me know what landed for you. Okay. Or if there's a topic that you want me to discuss, share it with me and I will absolutely discuss it on the podcast and give you a shout out. And remember, before we go, all the information that I share is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any medical advice, mental health treatment, or the advice of your healthcare provider. So always, always reach out to your healthcare professional if you have any concerns about your physical or mental health. And remember, your body is not working against you. I know it feels that way, but it's not. It's communicating with you. So we just have to be curious and continue to show up for ourselves. I'll see you in the next episode of Wellness Unfiltered with Dr. Quinnett. Until next time, take care.